Ahoy! Captain Benzie here, coming at you with a quick patch analysis video because yes, we have had a sudden and rather unexpected mid-season patch drop. It's not huge, and as usual, this video is not going to have much in the way of flashy graphics. If you just want to put this down on a table nearby, put the kettle on, grab yourself some biscuits, whatever it is, just sit back, enjoy while I go over the patch analysis. Now, before we jump too far into this one, I do need to give a quick shout out to Choopy. Not entirely certain how you pronounce that guy's name, but I promised I would give a shout out, as I quote, "He uses my voice to say grace, and it's a real hit." So this one's for you, Choopy. Ahoy God, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with thanks for food. Happy sailing, and see you at dessert. So this time around you'll notice that first of all I'm using the face cam for a change, just so you lucky people get to see how hideously ugly I am. Yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna go straight into the patch notes here. Now, it's important to note that the reason behind this mid-season patch, as it says here, was primarily to address breakpoints in level and training. However, there are a few units that have caught the devs' attention, and they are buffing and or nerfing those. So let's just jump right into this. So starting with GDI, drone swarms. Speed has gone down from faster to fast, and life has gone down from 175 to 127. What this means is that drones are now much more fragile, so things like rhinos, buggies, APCs, slingshots, that kind of thing will kill drones much quicker. Obviously things like pit bulls are still going to one-shot each drone, so it's just a slight nerf to drones. Quite frankly, drones have been in a very good position for a while. I think this takes them down to a good, comfortable level where they're not too powerful. They're going to die fairly easily, and if they die, it's going to be difficult to get them back into position. You can't spam them as much. Grenadiers. Grenadier movement behaviour adjusted. From what I gather, this is just sort of how the Grenadiers turn and face things and throw their grenades. They do that a little bit faster now, so Shatterers are not quite as brutal against them, shall we say, and Shatterers do get some changes later on. Spoilers! The Mohawk gunship fixes a breakpoint in level and training between Mohawk and attack bikes. Damage is down by 10. It's very minor. Mohawks are still going to be amazing. It just means they don't one-shot attack bikes that are a level lower now. The Orca. This is a really nice change. Now, the Orca has become incredibly dominant and is overshadowing many units in the meta. The change will differentiate it from the Mohawk. Reload time increased to 10, up from 8. Now, Mohawks actually used to have a longer reload time even than this back in the pre-alpha, believe it or not. They were unusable. Mohawks going from 8 to 10, they are still very much usable. They are still going to one-shot pit bulls. They are still going to take out many ground threats. They'll take out stealth tanks. The difference is they then have to actually reload for a while, meaning you have to pull them back to safety. You can't just bring an Orca back and hope that, you know, it reloads in time. No, you have to actually think about your Orca usage a bit more. It's a good change. I like it. It's minor. Orcas are still going to be fantastic. If you're running them successfully, you're probably still going to be able to run them successfully. They're just going to die to pit bulls that little bit easier now if you're not careful. The big one. The Orca Bomber finally gets its nerf. Yes, the health has decreased from 1950 down to 715. At equal levels, a Scarab Blast will now kill an Orca Bomber. Which, in fairness, if you're running Scarabs against Orca Bombers, good on you. That's a really weird counter, but it works. Pit Bulls, Talons, Banshees, Phantoms, Hammerheads, you're all going to have an easier time of taking an Orca Bomber out of the sky now. Slingshots are also going to do that just that little bit faster. I think an Orca Bomber still catches a slingshot and will hit it a couple of times. Probably even kill it, but then again, a slingshot's is much cheaper than an Orca Bomber. So that health, it just means that Orca Bombers die that little bit faster now. Again, a good change. The Pit Bull fixes a breaking point in level training with the new Predator and Scorpion tank values. Little asterisk there, we're coming back to that later. So health has gone down a little bit. Pit Bulls are still absolutely fantastic. Don't worry, they are still fantastic. Predator tanks fixed several breakpoints in level and training regarding variations of Predator tank and Scorpion tank. Now, this is actually a really nice change, and I'm going to cover this quite nicely now and jump ahead a little bit. So here you see the damage has gone up by 30, but the health has decreased a little bit for the Predator tank. If we scroll down, I'm going to hide those other bits for spoilers. If we go down here, you'll see that the Scorpion, again, has its health go down, but its damage go up. What this actually means is that at equal levels, a Scorpion and a Predator knock each other out. They do really well against each other both ways, which is really, really useful. The Scorpion's that little bit more fragile, but it hits harder and it fires faster. The Predator's a little bit softer, but it's like a moving slab of concrete. In this case now, equal level Predator versus Scorpions, the Defender wins, which is awesome. That is a fantastic change for tanks. Anyway, let's scroll back up. So the Rhino fixes a breakpoint in level and training where the new Predator and Scorpion tank values in this patch. Again, the Rhino gets a slight health nerf. It just means that those Predators and Scorpions beat Rhinos in the correct number of shots, even with a level difference. Rifleman, this is huge. Fixes a breakpoint in Rifleman versus Rifleman matchup. Health increased to 130 from 120. It's a very minor buff, but what it means is level 12 Riflemen don't just flat out beat level 11 anymore. Defenders win, even with a 1 level difference, whereas Riflemen were very, very sensitive to levels. That just smooths that out a bit. That is, again, an incredible change. Now the big one, the Shatterer. Now, I've actually had for once, I've had the chance to sit down and actually try out this particular bit of balance, because I wasn't sure how this would work. We'll come to that later. Here are the facts. The facts are that the damage to infantry has gone up considerably from 230 to 362. However, the attack speed has decreased to 1.3, down from 1. So it attacks slightly slower, but it deals much more damage per punch. Damage to structures has drastically increased from 310 to 450. This means that Shatterers actually do really well against the obelisk, against the turret, and yes, they do decent damage against the base. I don't think you're going to be Shatterer base rushing anytime soon, but it's possible. If you are so far ahead of the game and you've got enough Shatterers out on the field, it's worth trying now. Health, conversely, though, has gone down. Shatterer health has dropped a little bit, down from 1850 to 1790. It's got a major speed boost up to fast, up from average. And the stun duration has been increased as well. Now, here again it says Shatterer movement behavior adjusted. This is its deceleration. There was a GIF doing its rounds of the Discord where a Shatterer kind of comes in at an angle to some Grenadiers, and the Grenadiers polish it off before the Shatterer even turns. And that's because it has a deceleration. It has to actually slow down, come to a stop, and then turn. Which, when it's under an EMP effect, it may never get to do. So, in this case, it actually now doesn't have that deceleration. It stops immediately and it turns, which is awesome. What does this mean for Shatterers? Well, I did the basic tests with these earlier with a little help from Jade Zion. In short, currently, Shatterers just shut down Mutant Marauders. It doesn't matter if the Mutant Marauders are defending, at equal levels, a Shatterer moves in, punches a Mutant Marauder squad until the Mutant Marauders die. The Shatterer takes minor damage back. Against Grenadiers, because they have that EMP effect, they actually survive. The Grenadiers will survive if they are defending against the Shatterer. There'll be one Grenadier left, and he'll be on very little health, but the Shatterer is dead. On the other hand, if a Grenadier tries to rush into a Shatterer, the Shatterer wins. It takes a lot of damage, but it still wins. That's a really nice change. Shatterers genuinely feel much nicer to use now. It's a big change and a big, I'm really, really going to be pushing my Shatterers up to level now. Now, we come to the Slingshot. Now, the Slingshot is an interesting buff. Yeah, the cost has decreased down to 40. Slingshots cost 40 now. These guys wreck any air cost effectively. Let that sink in. Any air cost effectively. 2 of these guys will now rinse a Borka, and the Borka costs 110, the 2 Slingshots only cost 80. Slingshots are really good. Like, genuinely here, the Shatterer and the Slingshot now getting these buffs, that is some significant buffing for the the GDI War Factory deck. If you're running a deck that is something like I suggested in the Shatterer video, that is full GDI War Factory, that is actually a really viable deck now. Like, it's really good. Anyway, let's move on to Nod. Oh yes, artillery. Everyone, you either love it or you hate it. The arty party has been going on. The devs have seen this. What do we have in store? It's gone up to 110 cost, in short. Artillery now costs 110 up for 90. Now, this isn't a huge change, especially with scavengers now on the scene. Nod is able to get that 110 a lot easier, but it does mean that when an artillery is destroyed, if your opponent gets an artillery out and you destroy it before it sets up, or you bomb it, or whatever, it costs much more to replace it. It's a considerable nerf. Is it enough? I think the arty party is still going to be continuing. You know, don't put away the cake and the candles yet. That party is still ongoing. Banshees get a 10 damage training nerf. Again, this is just that they don't one-shot bikes at a level difference, which happened when attack bikes got that new change. It's again, Banshees, they're in a rough place at the moment, but that's not the Banshee's fault per se. I think that's more just there are a lot of counters to the Banshee that are very prominent in the meta right now. There's a lot of slingshots, a lot of pit bulls. Stealth tanks are still around a lot. Talons are seeing a lot of use, and 2 Talons, it's a no-fly zone for a Banshee. So Banshees are in a tough place, but this isn't a huge nerf. If you're using Banshees, you're still going to be able to use Banshees. Okay, the Inferno. This is a very big one for me. The Inferno, its health has increased from 1570 to 1715. That there you see 1715 for the Inferno is now the same as it is for an Orca Bomber. This means that a slingshot will still die to 1 Inferno, the Inferno will just get in and drop its shot off, but be on very minimal health afterwards. But to me, that's a big, really nice change. The Inferno is a unit that I absolutely love and adore, and I've been really sad to see that it's not even off meta, it's kind of meme meta right now. But that's a change for it. This is a push forward. Infernos are going to be a lot more useful. Yukinera, I know you're watching this. Enjoy your new Infernos. Anyway, that is all of the patch notes for this time around. It's a very short middle of the season patch, just to iron out some unit changes, and just to iron out a few little kinks in the system. Basically, nothing else is overly broken. The devs have said that they're watching some of the other units, but nothing really demanded a mid-patch other than the ones you see here. So yeah, that about sums all of this up, but as usual, let me know your thoughts. These are just my thoughts. Overall, I think this is positive. I think there's a lot of good stuff going on there. I think the nerfs are minor, the buffs are good. The breaking points, they're just to fix breaking points. It's a numerical thing. That Shatterer is amazing, the Slingshot is a big change, the Inferno is a happy change, and trust me, tanks just feel so much better to use now. It's weird, it's really minor changes, but tanks just feel so good to use. Anyway, as I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Come join us on the Gaming Galleon Discord, and if you enjoyed watching my ugly face give this presentation, let me know in the comments too. But be kind.